Brad Williams, Excel primed, conditional formatting, blank cells. How do we deal with it? This is pretty straightforward with options. In other words, without conditional formatting, what are we trying to do? We want to identify all blanks as opposed to empty. There's a difference. If it's empty, you could have just hit the space bar and you wouldn't know until you inserted this or you went to find and select and look for blanks. Since we're there, let's see if we can do that. Go to special, and we can't do that because the sheet's protected. And that's one of the downsides of protecting worksheets is you're limited to what you can do. So we'll work with what we have. Let's say somebody offloaded this thing to you and you wanted to try to do a check on it. If it's a protected worksheet and you go to special, it's blocked. And it shouldn't be blocked. Excel is what it is. This is what you're going to do. You can look, you go, well, I got conditional formatting. I can insert, pretend there's nothing here in terms of conditional formatting. There's no colors here. So you have this stuff here. You know a little bit about conditional formatting. And the question is, how do I detect any blank cells? Do you remember? Long ago, we used that is blank. We were just checking for blank cells. You can do the same thing with conditional formatting. You can also look for if there's any spaces, and that would be the not. Changes true to false and false to true. If we use not is blank, well, that doesn't work either. The conditional format non-blank cells, that would work. Keep in mind, if we put a space here, I'm just going to insert a space and hit enter. It should go, see, when you're looking at this without the colors, you're not going to know the difference. So you could do a couple different tests. You could use this blank, and that's going to trigger this green. You can also use len. You can use the following formula to highlight both blank cells and cells that appear to be blank. Len B5 is equal to 0. What does that mean? What does len do? It counts numbers of characters in text. When you do this, you're going to have to insert, and you can do this concurrently. You can do all three. Keep in mind, you have to change the colors. You have to be able to remember what the colors represent. That's it. Conditional formatting has some strengths and it has some weaknesses. What you have to be careful about absolute values and whether they're applicable. And sometimes conditional formatting will crash. So remember, as I keep telling you, hit Control Save regularly. We're not going to dive into the actual input here. I'm just going to show you the conditional format that's in place. We've gone over conditional formatting enough by now. You should know how to navigate and input this information. Otherwise, these tutorials are going to get too long and we have way too many to cover. Hit Manage Rules, or here's another shortcut, Alt H. That's going to take us where? Home. And then under Home, we have conditional formatting here. We can hit L. And then if you want a new rule, hit N. We have a current rule, so I'm going to hit R. There we go. You can see there's multiple rules. This second one, probably we can edit, and we can put, I don't know. Let's go edit, not. How about we go equals len, L-E-N, and then we're going to go B5, and then equals 0. Equals 0. Okay. And then B5, always check your range. So B5 to F11, and we're going to go red. We're going to get really nasty here. The other formula, this is blank B5. And then again, check your list and hit OK. Now, because len is just looking for 0, we have to do this. Let's just hit that, hit enter, F9. Point out something important. If you attempt to insert these three concurrently, it won't work. You can only do one or the other. Why there's a conflict? So behind this is that other, is this not function? Let's go in Alt, remember Alt, H, L, R. Why am I not getting this data over here? Because look where the highlighted range. Okay, you can be anywhere within your list. Hit Alt, H, L, R. You can try to use the stop if true, but that just won't work because it overrides and there's no way to move this stuff around. What you have to do is you have to delete this. You can go delete rule, okay? And you can see, now if I go in and I put a space here, enter, so what happened is you can use the following formula to highlight both blank cells and cells that appear to be blank. What happened is it's not blank, but it appears to be blank. So when uncertainty comes in, do a test. What does length do? Counts the number of characters in a text. Equals, len, there's a 1. What happens if you put a space in here? There's a character. And what does the rule say? Len b 5 is equal to 0. It now equals 1. So there's no way you can highlight this because it is recognized as a character. It is a good test because your question is, highlight the blank cells. Well, now you know what the blank cells are, and you know there's an interference here. You know there is something there, a space or something else. You have to keep working with the conditional format. It's just reading a rule, and your logic may be different, so just play around with it. Brad Williams, Excel Prime.